Okay. So Radhika, we were actually looking for you. So what do you think? The government is also giving some incentive to the tourism sector. How much of that will actually help to boost job creation, or for that matter, improve the GDP? Because tourism is around 7% of our GDP. So any study, the multiplier effect of tourism vis-a-vis other social sector, how much of this allocation towards the tourism industry is going to help? You're muted. Yeah.
In terms of studies, I don't think we have studies, but what is important is that we did some stakeholder consultations on this. We also spoke to some private sector participants on this, and their idea was that tourism should be encouraged, because tourism is in terms of multiplier, the channel through which it can boost growth is through employment provision. And this time around, and last year also, the kind of thrust that is being given to tourism by both central government and also encouraging states to partner in tourism, be it medical tourism, spiritual tourism. In the medium to long run, it is a positive for employment generation, because we talk about agriculture, we talk about construction as important sectors for employment generation. The role of tourism in employment generation is something which is not appreciated, but it is a very crucial sector for employment generation. And a lot of private sector participants have also suggested that there should be more thrust towards tourism that we've seen for the last 2 years. So those were the two positive, and this is a positive initiative. I just want to talk about the PLI scheme, one point that was discussed by the previous speakers also, and also on the PPP point, 2 points, just 2 minutes I'll take. On the PLI, we have seen that there has been very low disbursements on PLI. So that is one point. And there's only a few sectors, particularly electronic sector, that has benefited from PLI. Other sectors have not. So this practice of extending PLIs to other sectors should be discouraged unless and until we are able to fix why the disbursements under PLIs are being low. There needs to be more transparency in the criteria for PLIs, what kind of criteria is fixed. And also there should be criteria, value addition, how much value addition is there. The calculation of value addition for various sectors vary. How electronic will contribute through value addition is different as to compared to how a labor intensive sector will do. So that is very important. Value addition calculation, some revision of the criteria for including any company in the PLI scheme, and more transparency. So I think a comprehensive review of PLI scheme is very essential before we extend to other sectors. And this time around, there has been emphasis on other labor-intensive sectors like toys, on leather, and so on. And that is important. It is positive from the viewpoint of employment generation. On the PPP, it's a very important step towards infrastructure creation, in addition to the other two things that they have done, that they have announced: asset monetization 2.0. So asset monetization, private sector participation, public-private participation, these are all important steps. But what is important is to look at the implementation specifics, particularly PPP. We have seen that its results has been mixed. In some of the sectors, it has done well. In some of the other sectors, it has not done well. So contract enforcement, as we've heard that, the design of PPP policy needs to be very ideal. Contract enforcement, dispute resolution, all these things need to be very fine-tuned. Then only the PPP model will pick up. And in terms of just last point, in terms of, since we were talking about corporate bond market, and very important point raised on the financing of MSMEs, we have also seen that in terms of the outstanding credit to outstanding bank credit, less than 5% is allocated to MSMEs. So while there's a lot of emphasis on MSME credit, but formal credit to MSME is abysmally low. What will benefit is that firms should access the corporate bond market, and that corporate bond market should be more liquid, and it should be more, it should have more depth and liquidity. There were discussion about corporate bond market in the economic survey that the regulations, the prescriptive regulation, which allow the insurance firms to only invest in more than AA rated bond. All these need, unless market gets a flip, we will not see MSMEs being able to access more of the bank credit, which is as a share of outstanding bank credits very low as compared to some of the other countries, comparable countries. Their outstanding bank credit to MSME is almost 20 to 25%, and it also rises to 30 to 35%. So in our case, it's hardly 5 to 5.5%, which is very low. And
No,
last
so that point is,
yeah.
yeah, so that point is very valid, but I was talking to a few bank managers, and they
Yes.
say that the problem of the MSME sector is they don't have a cash flow statement, on the basis of which actually you can give loan, A, and B is when it comes to scaling up, So for between, let's say, 25 lakhs to 1 crore, I still have some collateral to show. But when it comes to scale up from 1 crore to 5 crore or 10 crores, I don't have any collateral. So do you have done any research as to how to get out of this kind of genuine problem, I'd say?
There are two things. One is the role of is very important in this to ensure last mile connectivity, and to also have a proper data backup on what is the credit worthiness of these MSMEs, because the role of fintech in this case is very important. We have interacted with some of the fintechs in this field who have tried to improve the credit allocation towards MSMEs. So I think greater workflow needs to be done towards fintech, and RBI's emphasis on those fintech that can help bridge the gap between MSMEs and bank credit flow. So that is one point.
Okay. I think TK has a point. TK, go ahead.
So we have this account aggregator framework, which operationalizes the consent layer of the India stack. So if you make payments electronically, that data can be captured.
Okay.
They can be shared. So all financial activity of an entity, whether it's an MSME or an individual, can be collated and presented to a potential lender with the consent of the potential borrower. And this is a facility that India has created, but it's sadly not being utilized. So all banks are part of this, or the GST network is part of this.
Yeah, GSTN, right.
So how much GST a company has paid, how much GST input tax credit it has claimed. So to say that there is no cash flow statement is completely ridiculous, because you can have the collection of this entire financial activity data through this account aggregator framework, if only banks are willing to utilize it. The point is that because you don't have a bond market, Tata and Birla borrow from the bank. For the banks, it's convenient to lend to very large borrowers, very low risk, very low transaction costs. You make the loan and sit back happy and go and drink tea in the evening. Whereas if you want to assess the risk of small, medium enterprises, it's actually a banking job. So they don't want to do that. This is the simple reality.